movie. That's right, we're going to be reviewing Army of Darkness. Now, I'm going to tell you when I first saw Army of Darkness, I'm like 15, maybe 16 years old. At that time, if the me of that time was sitting here doing the review, 10 out of 10. I loved Army of Darkness. It captivated me. It held my attention. The charisma of Bruce Campbell, the way they handle the monsters. They sort of worked against certain stereotypes with the Deadites. However, I recently watched it, the director's cut version. It comes in a nice case. Should have gotten the DVD out. The Necronomicon cover, the director's cut. And I watched it with my son, the first time watching the movie, since I was a teenager. And like I said, I loved this movie as a teenager. It captivated me. Not as an adult. I'm old now, and this movie, I found it to be rather boring, to be honest with you. And that really surprised me. Now, before you start hating, if you're also old now, and you have not watched this movie since you were like in your early 20s or something, you might think the same thing. It just didn't hold up that well. It wasn't that interesting. It wasn't that cool. Yes, the shotgun hand is awesome. The chainsaw, awesome. I'm not going to dispute those things at all. There's some pretty interesting scenes where he can't remember the words, and he has the three Necronomicons before him. That's all great stuff. I'm not going to discount that, but overall the movie, not so great. A lot of it just comes off as very cheesy and very hokey to me when I watched it. It didn't captivate my attention. Typically I'll pause a movie, but if I needed to get up, use the bathroom door yet, or I wanted to get a drink, or I think maybe someone called me. I didn't. I was way past the point of having any particular interest in the movie. It was difficult for me to engage in, to suspend disbelief for. I thought at times the sort of first person view of the arrows and stuff firing at people, they kind of worked. At other times they didn't. There were a few continuity issues in the movie that I noticed as I was watching it as well, that I was like, I didn't remember that being a problem. The pit scene was really pretty good, pretty interesting, with the Deadite flipping around at him. Now, of course, the Necronomicon is in the movie, as I've already mentioned, and this is like the third version of the Evil Dead movies, with all starring Bruce Campbell. This is a bit more comical than Evil Dead 1 or 2. I can't remember. One of the Evil Dead movies was a little more comical than the other. One was a bit more serious. And this one, of course, his take on these people, calling them dirty primitives or whatever, was pretty funny. And he picks up the chemistry book and starts building things. And I still found that to be relatively entertaining. When you see the different monsters there, they look really bad. By my modern eye, they don't even look like B-movie fare. Some of those scenes look like stuff that, with a camcorder, you could go in your backyard and make. The skeletons and stuff are pretty bad. A lot of them are just so campy and not in a good way. In a kind of difficult to watch. But again, as a teenager, I thought that was great. I thought that was cool and interesting. But as an adult, it just didn't do the same thing for me. I guess, like I say, you can't ever go home, and I tried to, and it wasn't good. It wasn't so good. But the Necronomicon was a device created by H.P. Lovecraft, horror writer. Now, it has been in so many different movies and become part of pop culture, been at a ton of different places. Now, you could even go into like a bookstore and find a real version of it, which is, if you ever flip through it, the poorest written book that you will find in that bookstore. Go through the bookstore, I will guarantee you will not find another book that is as poorly written. It was put together by someone who was a follower of Aleister Crowley's, who apparently had a very limited scope of knowledge on the subject of ancient religions. And there are a number of problems. Even within the book, there are presentations. And he basically took Assyrian and Sumerian religions and overlaid them with bits of sort of name-changed versions of Lovecraft's work, the Cthulhu and so forth. But it's horrible, it's laughable, it's ridiculous. And a few people do believe that. Sadly, you can hunt around on YouTube and find reviews of people think that's a magic book. And it's not. It was created by H.P. Lovecraft, and with its alleged author in his works, Abdul al-Hazred, the Mad Arab, and it talks of the great old ones and the elder things and the creation of life and dread spells, and it's very, very interesting. And then you see in the movie where Bruce Campbell, Ash, is doing the deal with the three Necronomicons, and he can't remember the words that the Magi or old man or whatever it was told him, and he's all trying to like just mumble them through, and then grab the books like the ancient evil magic forces will just be like, oh, okay, you just cough in your hand, and we'll let that slide. No, son, that isn't going to work. And it didn't work, and that was still definitely a highlight moment of it. The little ashes, I kind of thought that went on a little too long. I got real bored with that scene where all the little ashes are running around. The bit of a love story they had in there was extremely forced and definitely did not really help the movie at all. I didn't buy that one bit, and I don't think that it was valuable screen time to have that. I think just generally having him be more contemptuous of the people probably would have worked better for the movie overall. Now, sadly, and I hate to say it, I got to give the movie like a 4 out of 10. Yeah, I mean, at one time it was one of my favorites. In fact, I said I even bought the DVD. So that's where I am with Army of Darkness. Let me know what you think, and let me know, more importantly, if you're an old guy like me and you've watched the movie recently and not remembering it through the rose-tinted glasses of memory, what you think and how it came across as being different to you in one way or another.